folks, it's Ian here from Dental Marketing Heroes with your webinar for this month, which is all about social media mastery for dentists. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the social media playbook for dentists. My name is Ian Cantle and I'm the founder and chief strategist at Dental Marketing Heroes. We are a dental marketing agency expert in marketing dental practices. Our mission is to help dentists thrive by installing a marketing system into your practice so you can focus on what you do best and your leads come in with new patients and you retain more patients as well. And we do this because we want to help you thrive. And to thrive, you need a thriving funnel for your practice. And we love it when we help dentists flourish so that they can give more back to worthwhile causes and their communities. So today I'll be sharing information that has the potential to radically impact your practice, increase your new patient numbers, and help you increase your profitability. And I'm eager to share this information with you. Today we're going to be really digging into this topic, and this is what we'll be covering. What is social media marketing? Does social media marketing work for dentists? This is a big question. The biggest social media myth. Why dentists should invest in social media. Number 5, how to choose the best social media networks for dental practices. Number 6, organic social media versus paid social media. Another really important topic. Number 7, how to measure your social media marketing investment. Number 8, 12 dental social media tips that you need to listen to and put in place. Number 9, your social media playbook, really important for knowing how to tackle this important area of your marketing. And number 10, free resources to help you. So if you stay to the end of this webinar, we'll be sharing a free resource, which is the Social Media for Dentists worksheets. It's actually a comprehensive strategic plan, set of planning worksheets that you'll find really valuable. So who am I and why should you listen to me for marketing? I'm the author of Content Marketing for Local Search. I co-authored this book with 4 other marketing consultants. I'm part of a weekly podcast on the marketing guides for small business, where we cover small business marketing tips, tricks, trends, and help for small businesses, including dental practices. I have over 20 years of marketing experience, both in B2B, business to business, and B2C, business to consumer, and a lot of experience in the healthcare fields. Number 4, I have lots of certifications, and I'll share some of these later because some of them are really relevant to what we're talking about today. I'm also a certified master duct tape marketing consultant, which means I bring a proven marketing system to the table in order to help you consistently market your practice, grow your practice, and get a great return on investment. And that leads into number 6, which I've consistently shown an extremely high return on investment for my clients. So what is social media? I think we all have an idea of what it is. Some of us like it, some of us don't. But really, the term itself is that it's a computer-based technology that facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through virtual networks and communities. Social media is internet-based, and it gives users quick electronic communication of content such as personal information, documents, videos, photos. Users can engage with social media via computer, their tablet, their smartphone, web-based software, or applications. But what really is social media? Social media is the use of social media marketing is the use of social media platforms to connect with the audience you want to connect with, to build your brand, to increase sales, to drive website traffic, to attract more new patients. This involves publishing great content on your social media profiles. It involves listening to and engaging with your followers. It involves analyzing your results and running social media ads. But before we go any further, this is the question I'd be asking if I were you. I'd be asking, does social media marketing work for dentists? The short answer is yes, it does. But you need to combine strategy and great implementation to see great results. Although your focus may be on activity at first, your goal should be seeing a return on investment from your social media marketing activities. Or why are you there? Why are you investing in this channel, in this strategy? As we go through this webinar, you'll learn why it works and how to make it work better to grow your practice. Now, let's look at the biggest myth about social media marketing. The biggest myth of social media marketing, and you may believe this or you may not, is that social media marketing is free, right? It's free to download the Facebook app, the TikTok app, the Instagram app. It's free to use those apps. It's free to spend as much time as I possibly want watching content, connecting with friends, family, like-minded people. And that is all absolutely true. But remember that you're giving your time and your attention and your information and your interests and your demographics to the social network, and they exist to turn a profit. It may be free for you and I as users to use social media, but for a business, for your dental practice, nothing could be further from the truth. And this is a really key truth that dentists and orthodontists need to understand. And oftentimes, dentists bring this thinking into their ideas of their business's social media, but it's dramatically different. Think about it. It takes time, energy, and creativity and resources to regularly post, engage, and stand out on social media. I think you'll agree that none of these things are free. Either you have to pay someone to do this work, have a staff member do it to whom you're already paying them, or you do it as the practice owner. But your staff's time isn't free, and definitely your time isn't free either. In fact, for dentists that run their own social media marketing, you're the most expensive social media coordinator on the planet. And to truly get in front of the people you want to as a practice, you have to invest social media efforts and even advertise on social media. And we'll explore why this is true shortly. The second biggest social media myth is that social media is a top lead generation strategy. In all my years of marketing, I have never seen this to be true. Social media marketing can rarely target qualified ideal patients at the time they are looking for a dentist. Other platforms like Google Ads, on the other hand, SEO, they allow you to connect with qualified patients, prospective patients, at the time they are actually looking for you and your services. This doesn't mean social media won't produce leads, nor does it mean you shouldn't invest in social media. But what it does mean is that you, as a smart marketing investor, will understand its place in your overall marketing strategy and have realistic expectations for social media marketing. And it's important to remember that social media for your dental practice is a marketing play, and it requires any marketing activity or play requires a strategic plan before tactics, a strategy before tactics mindset to ensure you get the results that you actually want and you get a return on investment. Again, anything you invest in marketing should be producing a return, and it should be a high return on investment. Having said that, I'm convinced that every practice should be on social media in some form or another. But the key is to ensure that it fits within the bigger picture of your marketing plan so it doesn't displace other marketing elements and activities that would serve your practice better. You need to be really smart about where you put your efforts to ensure they pay off. So let's jump in and look at some of social media data that helps support why dentists should invest in social media. The first question we should ask is, are the people we want to reach, actually using social media? Let's look at the stats. This is from this current year. You can actually see that the number of social media users continues to grow, that there is a continuing increase in social media users, and that more and more people are using it. We can also see that The average time spent using social media is almost 2.5 hours a day on average. And the average number of social media platforms used each month by users is 6.6. That's a lot of platforms. And you can see that from a population standpoint, about 60% of all the population is using social media. And when you shrink that down to just look at the segment of those aged 18 plus, you can actually see that it's a 78% increase in users. You can also see that social media users, 92.7% of them use the internet as well, which just makes sense. What's interesting also is that you can see that 46.5% of social media users are women and 53.5% are men. So what this should be telling you is that a lot of the people you're trying to reach are on social media. And in North America, you can actually see that it's a higher percentage for those 18 plus that are using social media. So how much time do people spend on social media by platform? This is always really interesting. On here, you can see that YouTube is actually the highest time spent on social media. And TikTok now is the second highest. This is a little out of date. There's a newer chart available. And Facebook, 19.6 is the average number of hours per month that people are spending on that. So what you should take away from this is that not only is a large majority of the audience you're trying to reach on social media, they are actively using social media. So why do people use social media? This is another question we should be asking ourselves. The biggest reason, almost 50% of people state that the reason they use social media is to keep in touch with friends and family. It makes sense. It's called social media for a reason. It's social. It's person-to-person connection. It's not always extremely high-level social connection, but it is social connection. The next one is interesting in that it's people's filling of their spare time. That's a large percentage. Reading news stories, finding content, seeing what's being talked about, finding inspiration for things to do and to buy, finding products to purchase, sharing and discussing opinions, watching live streams, making new contacts, seeing content from your favorite brands, watching or following sports, work-related network or research, finding like-minded communities and groups, and following celebrities and influencers. So that gives you an idea of why people use social media. So they're there for a reason. So what are the most used social media platforms in 2023? You can see that Facebook is still one of the top used platforms in millions of active users. This is a really important stat because active users is different from total users. And so you can see that Facebook is still very relevant. YouTube is still very relevant. Instagram is still very relevant. And TikTok is growing, especially with the younger generations. You can also see what the types of content, strategies, industries, emotions, and weaknesses are for each type of platform. And you can also see who gravitates towards those platforms. And I'm not going to go into this in great detail, but you can take a screenshot of this and you can educate yourself on, because when you're choosing who you want to connect with, this is really relevant. So the top reasons your practice should be on social media. Social proof. What's better than you talking about how great your practice is? It's other people talking about how great your practice is. Social media is an absolute fantastic place for you to share reviews from your patients and for your patients to leave reviews. Brand exposure. Social media can be great for local brand exposure, especially if you combine your organic efforts with paid advertising efforts. And lastly, social media can play a very important part in your buyer's journey through the marketing hourglass. So let me explain this a little bit more. The marketing hourglass is a holistic view of the journey that your prospective patients, your buyers, for as another term, are on. They have to know you, to like you, to trust you, to try you, to buy from you, to repeat purchase, and to refer. That's a process that we all go through. What's really powerful about the marketing hourglass framework is that there's two sides to it. On the one side, you have the buyer's journey, the steps that people go through before they make a buying decision. And on the right-hand side, you have the marketing activities you need to do or can do to reach those prospective patients or existing patients in their journey. And social media can be an important part of most of these steps of the buyer's journey. Here's what I mean. When someone is looking for a dentist, they will often ask connections on social media for who they like. Those friends may link directly to your profile, or they may just give a good word about you. The prospective patient will often look at your social profile, what you post, what your reviews are, how you interact with people. They might even instant message you in order to get the ball rolling as far as communication and coming in for a tour or setting up their first appointment. They will often then click on a link to your website, Google you, check out if you're trustworthy in the Google reviews, click on other social profiles you have, follow you on social media. And what's really cool is that if you set up your retargeting ads on social platforms and on other platforms as well, they will see you more and more often, even after they've visited your website. And through this, you start to earn their trust as a great option for their dental needs or their family's dental needs. If you're on the short list, they will probably call you or fill in an online form to schedule an appointment or to get a consultation. And this is a big try, because how this experience leaves them feeling will determine whether they become your patient or not. So let's assume they move to the buy stage, they become your patient. Woohoo, you did it. Well done. And if you've done a great job, they will repeat purchasing from you. They will come back to you. They will book the next appointment. They will leave you a great sparkling review, which you can share on social media. And they will refer friends, family, colleagues, and neighbors to you to recommend you as a great dentist. So I hope this helps you see how social media can be an important part of the marketing hourglass and help you attract, engage, and retain more great patients. It's also important to remember from our last webinar that we did that your practice needs an integrated strategic marketing system to get a great return on investment. And your social media needs to be in the context of this whole marketing system. Not only will the system create the content that you need to successfully share on social media, it will also empower your practice to focus on the social media platforms in a sustainable and a strategic way. And it will produce an even bigger result than if social media is just a side project, which many practices choose to take. So, how to choose the best social media network for your practice? The next best question we want to answer is, what's the best social network for dentists to be on? And after seeing some of these statistics previously, you may already be leaning towards a particular network, or perhaps your personal interest may be pulling you in one direction or another. Maybe you spend a lot of time watching videos on TikTok and you want to do that. But let's break this down so you're making the most strategic decision as possible. Things you need to consider is, who is the audience? Can I reach these people on the desired social channel? Or is there a better social network to be on? Can we have sustainability in regularly posting, in managing, in connecting with people on that social network? Can me and my team, or maybe your marketing agency partner, cost effectively do what's required to be visible and engaging on this network? And do we, or are our partners, do they have the skills and the tools required to do this? And why this is a really important question is different platforms require different levels of expertise. If you think about TikTok or YouTube, they are video heavy. So you need to have some sort of methodology, systems, tools in order to pump out the videos that you want. You also need to have the thought process, strategic thought process down to a science in what you're going to present and why you're going to present it. The third part to consider is, does the social network offer an advertising platform that empowers me, my practice, to target my ideal patients? And this is really important. The reason it's so important is to talk about the difference between organic social media and paid social media. So let's first look at how organic social media usually works. You post something. Someone who knows you, this is down the left-hand side, and follow the arrows down. Someone who follows you sees the post and they engage with it. Because they engage with your post, their network of connections sees it as well. Those other people might engage in the content or the post as well. And those other people might cause it to be seen by their connections as well. And it starts to expand exponentially. That's essentially how viral posting works. And regularly engaged posts work the same way, just to a lesser degree. Now let's look at how paid social media advertising works. It's on the right-hand side of this chart. You create an ad and you tell the social network to target certain people within a certain geographic area with your ad. It can also be targeting interests and other types of criteria. A percentage of your audience will see and engage with your ad. They will perform an action like completing a form or going to your website, and they become a lead. The system will track them through a pixel that's on your website, a little piece of code, that they become a lead. Think of it as a highly targeted billboard advertising that you can track very precisely. The cool thing also is that you can retarget people with ads if they visit your website or act on your previous ad. You can essentially create lead funnels where people are moving through steps in nurturing them in their journey through different types of retargeting ads. So that's the difference between organic social media, which everybody's familiar with, and paid social media. But here is the hard fact that you need to understand. You have to pay to play now. Let me say that again. You have to pay to play now in social media as a business, as a dental practice. Several years ago, Facebook made some really big changes to their algorithm that made it very hard for businesses like yours and mine to show up in followers' news feeds. These are people that are connected with me. They like my business. They're following my business. But Facebook has basically put a wall between my posting and them because they want me to pay for advertising. And this is true on almost every social network, not just Facebook. This was part of their monetization plan. They're there to make money. They're a business. But what this means to you is that to truly get the most out of social media, you need a balanced plan that balances organic social media efforts, like the social posting, the engagement, all of that kind of stuff, augmented with paid advertising. Without the paid advertising, your social media results will be dismal. And a lot of businesses, a lot of dental practices take a year or so to come to this conclusion. I'm trying to help you fast track this and avoid that thinking. This chart shows where you have very little control now over your organic results. And that it's not very scalable. Indeed, you can post more often and you can be more engaging and you can be more engaged. Your team can be more engaged with your followers and with other similar businesses. You can also provide more engaging content, but beyond that, organic is not very scalable. You can't just say, hey, I want more leads to come through this channel through organic means. But when you look at paid, you have more control than on your organic efforts. You can see that you have greater control. The more money you put towards it, the more effort you put towards it, the more scalable it is. So how do you measure your social media marketing success? Now, as you've probably realized by now, I'm a huge fan of measurement. In fact, you shouldn't be marketing if you're not intending to measure the results. It's essentially you're just flushing money down the toilet if you're spending money on marketing but not tracking and measuring, optimizing, and resolving issues over time. Nothing stays stagnant in digital marketing. Here's what you need to measure in social media marketing to know if you're being successful or not. Let's start from the most important things on the right-hand side. Return on investment. This is the gold standard for any marketing effort. I want to know as a business, and you want to know as a dental practice, for every dollar I spend on a marketing strategy or in my marketing as a whole, what return should I expect from it? And ideally, your return on investment is growing over the years. The smarter you get at investing, the better the in return on investment. Next to the left, we have conversions. Conversions are things like calls, form completions, signups for downloads, messages, appointment setting, clinic visits, free consultations. Conversions are a really high value metric, and we should be tracking those on social media. Traffic to website. Because this is part of the buyer's journey, and because your website is essentially the hub of all your digital marketing, it's the only property that you as a business own, you have to focus a lot of effort in this area. And so you want to know, how much traffic am I actually getting to the website from my social media efforts? And is it growing? The next one is engagement. On the social media platform, is my engagement growing? Are people more engaged on my channel now than they were a year ago, a month ago, 2 years ago? Am I posting regularly? Am I growing the number of times I post? And then finally, followers or audience size. Is my audience growing over time? This is another metric that we as businesses want to know, because the bigger our audience, as long as they're our ideal prospective audience, the better, because the more people we have influence on. So those are some key measurements that you as a dentist want to make sure you're tracking in social media. I'd also like to help you avoid some common pitfalls by providing some key social media marketing tips for dentists. Tip number one is avoid the shiny object syndrome, the SOS, so to speak. Do not get sucked into the latest fads. Do not be the first adopter of a new social platform. Be careful which experts you listen to. There is so much false and misleading information out there about social media marketing that it presents some major pitfalls for dentists. So instead of chasing the shiny objects, stick to your strategic marketing plan, as long as you've invested in one. The strategic marketing plan defines who your ideal audience is, what content you'll produce, and which social networks are the best fit to reach your goals. And it will also have the key measurements you should be tracking in those efforts. Plan the work and work the plan, and put blinders on for all of the hype you'll hear. And as a final note on this, any good marketing agency will be a leader and a guide for marketing decisions. So if you're being lured to a new social platform or to do something on an existing social platform, talk to your marketing guide, talk to your marketing agency, and they will help you determine, is this a good course of action for my dental practice, before you invest in it. Tip number two, your audience is the key. It's all about your audience. As we said earlier, your audience is the key. It's not about you, the dentist. It's not even about your dental practice. It is about your audience. So don't ever lose sight of that fact. Create simple personas of your ideal patients so that you can effectively speak to them on social media. You'll understand how to target them, what they're interested in on social media advertising. Have your ideal patients, are your ideal patients moms of young children? Then define it. Are your ideal patients aged 40 plus that golf and drive nice cars because they are ideal implant patients? Then define it. Strategy is key, and it will keep you from spending money in the wrong places and going after the wrong people. Tip number three, relationship in social media is everything. And don't forget the social in social media. We talked about the importance of never losing sight of your audience, But also, never lose sight that these are real people with real feelings, with real pain, with real challenges, and real dreams. When you think about social media, think about meeting people in real life. Think about how you would engage them, what's important to them, and be sure to be real with them. Pay attention to them and treat them as special and show interest in them, and the relationships will grow. Tip number 4, have clear goals for your social media marketing. If you've heard any of my webinars, you know by now goals are essential. In order to have a strategy, you have to have goals. And in order to measure, you have to have goals. And we talked earlier about the importance of having a strategic marketing plan. Within that plan, you should also have clearly defined social media goals. What is it that success looks like for your practice on social media? Be sure to define it and measure your results against these goals. It's all about the goals you're trying to achieve. Tip 5, measure for success. If you don't measure it, you can't improve it. Peter Drucker said that. You need to know what's working, what's not working, and why it's not working. You need to be able to show that for X number of dollars, I'm getting Y number of dollars back from my efforts, return on investment. When you properly measure your results, you'll be able to improve and invest your marketing dollars even more wisely. Consistency is vital. Tip number 6. One of the tenets of good marketing is consistency. So set up a plan that will work for you and your team and your marketing partner, and work the plan day in and day out. Be consistent. The worst thing to do is to put a ton of effort into social media when you are slow or have extra time and then drop it when you don't. We see this all the time, especially since COVID. A lot of dental practices closed down for a little bit. They focused their energy and efforts on marketing, on social media marketing as well. And there was this huge burst of social activity. And then after they got back to regularly running their practice, social media became an afterthought. So be consistent and it will pay off. Tip number 7, get involved. Being social is all about being involved. Imagine you went to a business networking event and you sat alone in the corner. It certainly wouldn't help your business achieve its goals. So in the same way, get involved in social media where it makes the most sense. Don't just be an observer. Join groups, post relevant content, comment on other people's posts, follow local businesses, and get involved. Tip number 8, be strategic. Many dentists think of social media as an ad hoc posting type of performance. And I'll post when I'm feeling it. But you can be strategic on your social media. You want to ensure you're talking about topics that are important for your business and valuable to your audience. Map out those topics and be strategic in the planning of your posts. I love the analogy of how you can put the most amount of water, sand, pebbles, and rocks into a container only if you start with the big stuff. If you start with the small stuff like the water and the sand, you won't be able to put the larger items into that container. But if you start with the big rocks, your big goals, and then you put in the pebbles, and then you pour in the sand between the cracks, and then you pour the water in on top of that, and it soaks into the sand and in between the cracks and the rocks, it fills up the container fully, and you get everything you want in that container. In the same way, if you plan your strategic big rocks first, it will ensure that you get it done and allow you to layer in some other more ad hoc posts as well. So be strategic first. Tip number 9, be authentic, be real, be funny. If you're a funny person, be funny. A lot of dentists feel that they have to put on a serious tone or a certain persona when they do their social media. But that doesn't mean you can't be authentic. These photos are all about fun, but authenticity doesn't mean you have to joke around, although people love doing that. Some dentists are extremely good at this. Be real with people. If you love dogs, share photos of your dog. If you love to run, post your running photos. If you love to garden or dance or go to concerts, or eat really elegant food, you see where this is all going. Share the real stuff that people can relate to. Be real. Tip number 10. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about hashtags, but hashtags can help. I'm sure you've seen the pound sign or hashtag sign on social posts. The reason this is done is because it's essentially categorizing the topic of your post so people who are interested can search for it. So things like hashtag your town, meaning Bradford for me, New York for somebody else, hashtag braces, hashtag teeth whitening can help people come across and engage with your posts when they're searching for them. Using hashtags can expand your reach beyond your immediate followers, so don't ignore them. Don't go crazy with them, but don't ignore them. On the other hand, some people put a ton of hashtags in each of their posts thinking more is better. More is not always better. Data shows this isn't true, and usually 3 to 5 hashtags is ideal. And tip number 11, share pictures of dogs and cats. And I say this a little bit tongue in cheek, but if you've spent any time on social media and you happen to like dogs or cats, you spend a lot of time watching these videos, usually funny videos or cute videos. But think about it. Even though you're a professional establishment, there's ways to connect with people on an emotional level. And if you've got a cat or dog, absolutely you should be sharing photos about them. If your team has pets, share the pics of them with people because people love them. If you don't believe me, check out these stats. These are ridiculous. So look at the number of web pages about dogs, over 6 billion. The average Google search volume for dogs is 89 a month. That's just a very high level. Annual views to dog pages on Wikipedia, 2.86 million. Instagram posts tagged with dog. It just goes on and on. People really like them, and they're not very serious, but they are an emotional connection. Just to give you an idea, check out some of these top Instagram profiles for cats. 2.4 million, 4.4 million, 2.6 million for the real grumpy cat. And then for dogs, even higher. It seems that dog lovers are more engaged on social media. 9.3 million for Jif the Pomeranian. And you can see my point. But the point is not to force you to post pictures of animals, but it is to understand your audience and post things that are relevant to them. And if you throw in a few posts about cats or dogs, I guarantee you that they will be some of your highest engaging posts. Tip number 12, know when to post. People's social media streams are so packed with content that if you're posting at the wrong time, they may never see your post. Some companies pre-schedule posts and they don't pay attention to when that post is going out. So it might go out at 2 a.m. and nobody's really seeing it. You need to know when your audience is most likely to engage with your posts. And if you've had a social media presence for a while, you can look at the data. Data is very powerful. It will show you some insights on when people are seeing and engaging with your posts. If you haven't had a strong social media presence, then you can Google best times to post on social media, and there are some great resources out there. Just remember that when looking at this data, it is looking at such a broad spectrum of brands and influencers and geographies that it may provide too broad a spectrum to be as valuable as your own data once you can harvest it. Your social media playbook. We've alluded to the idea of sustainability in your social media marketing, but how do you do social media in a powerful, sustainable way? Let's look at the way I've found that works best for dental practices. It's a layering method where you have all the right ingredients to create what I call a sustainability sandwich, the social media sustainability sandwich method. It's a little bit funny, but I think it makes sense. A great memorable metaphor for sustainable social media marketing is the sustainability sandwich. It's not just because I'm presenting this webinar during lunch. No, a sandwich offers a great metaphor because it's made up of different parts or ingredients, but when you put them together, it becomes something great that is better than its individual parts and provides fuel for your body. In the same way, this social media sandwich method will help you remember the important elements you need to focus on to fuel your business's social media engine. Let's dig in. It all starts with the bread because the bread sets the tone. It contains the rest of the elements and makes it easier to handle. In the same way, you need to assign responsibility. Somebody needs to be responsible for social media posting and management. This can be an internal person or an external person if you have a marketing agency. You need to share the load. Social media has a lot of moving pieces, and the more people involved, oftentimes the better it will be. Make social media a part of everyone's jobs. If you incentivize people to be involved, a lot of them will be. Make it part of their job description. Create social media guidelines. This is really powerful because if you don't create the guidelines, people may go off the guardrails and you might need to bring them back. So it's helpful to create guidelines that aren't too crazy, aren't too stringent, aren't too detailed, just a one pager that says this is who we are on social media. This is how you should post and engage with people. Then we have the meat of the sandwich. This is where all the good calories are. We need to be strategic posting about our services, our products, common pain points, solutions, success stories, reviews. We need to do strategic community posts. We need to be posting in community groups. Smart advertising. We need to gain visibility with followers and gain visibility with our target audience as well. And then we need to measure and track results. We've talked about why this is important. Now be sure to do it by including it in your sustainability sandwich. Then we have the garnishes. These are the things that augment our sandwich, that give it a greater overall health and tastiness. It also looks a heck of a lot better. So to start, be authentic. We talked about what authenticity means. Post about your team, feature them, have fun. Post about your patients. You might need to get them to sign waivers, but a lot of patients would be happy to be featured in your posts, especially if it's a smile post. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Share when doing things in the community or around town, team events, charitable events. Tag local businesses, suppliers, partners, charities, etc. Be involved, be authentic. And lastly, don't forget your secret sauce. This is the stuff, the juicy, zesty tasting activities that will truly build relationships and attract more followers and engagement. Be engaging. Engage with people. This is social media. Be responsive. When somebody reaches out to you, answer them fast. People have high expectations of speed to response. Invite involvement from your audience. Ask people to get engaged. And if you do all this, you will have a delicious sustainability sandwich for your social media marketing efforts in your dental practice. And the great thing is that once you start to gain traction, you can start to experiment with new elements to create an even better social media presence over time. Maybe you'll jump into another social media channel with the things that you've learned. Maybe you'll throw in a dash of video or a pinch of TikTok or some great lead magnets, and boom, you are rocking it. So going back to a question I raised earlier in this webinar, does social media marketing work for dentists? That is a big golden thumbs up. It absolutely can. Remember to be strategic, be sustainable, engage your team, and ask for help from outside resources when you want to do it well. The great news also is that you don't need to treat your business's social media like you do your personal social media. You can pre-plan and schedule posts to go out on particular times. You can share and monitor across multiple platforms. You can analyze results using great tools available, and there are tons of them. Here's a few of my favorites: Buffer, Hootsuite, Sendable, Later, Social Pilot, and even our own homegrown social media engagement engine. But just know that you can invest in these tools, or your agency is probably investing in these tools already, so that you can consistently and strategically post on social platforms and understand what the results are. Along that line of thinking, let me share why you might want to consider hiring an agency to help you with your social media marketing. They will be better at it than you or your team. It's what they do all day, every day. It will help free your team to do their jobs. You didn't hire them to be social media experts. You hired them to be a receptionist, an office manager, a technician, a hygienist, right? You want to keep them in their spheres of excellence. They will ensure hiring somebody outside will ensure that the right things are done at the right time to make you look great. That's their job. That's what you've hired them to do. That's in their contract. And it's in their best interest to help you be successful. So you'll continue to work with them. You can always leave them, and they know that. And number 5, they'll report regularly on it. They'll do this because they want to prove their value. And they'll also be a leader to you, a guide, and they'll tell you where you should be taking your social media next. We covered a lot today, and I know it's a lot to understand and even more to implement in your dental practice. And for most dentists and orthodontists, you will never do this work yourselves, and probably your in-house teams won't do it either. So you need to find an external partner to help you. And that's where we come in at Dental Marketing Heroes. So because you're still on this webinar, you're still interested, allow me to share a little bit about Dental Marketing Heroes. Our Dental Marketing Heroes team is here to help you. We've become well known for our expertise in the advertising world. We're a National Excellence Award winning agency. For the past 4 years, we've been named a top digital ads agency and a top web design agency. We're an SEO for Growth certified consultant, and we're a strategy first master duct tape marketing consultant. As mentioned earlier, I co-host a weekly small business podcast called Marketing Guides for Small Business, which is really relevant for dentists. And I co-authored a book about local SEO called Content Marketing for Local Search, how to create content that Google loves and prospects devour. So all that is to say that my team and I can help you with your social media marketing efforts, and we are super passionate about that. We find that when we implement our comprehensive integrated marketing system into practices, we consistently achieve a greater than 5 times return on investment for you, and usually much more than that. So if you're interested in learning more, please schedule a free marketing discovery call with me, and I'd be happy to chat with you. As mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, I wanted to provide you with a special free resource that's relevant to our conversation today. So take a picture of the QR code on this page, and you'll be able to download for free the Social Media for Dentists worksheets. These are strategic social media marketing worksheets that will help you plan out your social media. And I have no doubt you'll get a ton of value from these. And lastly, I wanted to say thank you for joining us today and for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate yourself on this important topic of social media marketing. We are going to have a follow-up social media advertising webinar in the near future. But our next scheduled webinar is how to leverage video and multimedia to enhance your dental practice. This is a huge topic for most dental practices, and I invite you to come out on the first Friday of November, and we'll see you there. In the meantime, keep calm and market on, folks. Have a great day. Bye for now.